Ethan Collins, a 7-year-old boy, faced a tragic accident with his mother. She couldn't survive the injuries, leaving Ethan all alone. Just when he was about to give up on life, something incredible happened. Subscribe to the channel and click on the notification. Help this channel reach 1,000 subscribers, this way YouTube will deliver this content to more people who will benefit. I count on your help. It was a rainy night, and Ethan and his mother, Sarah, had to return home. "Come on, sweetheart. I left your favorite meal in the oven. We'll eat together when we get home," Sarah said as she secured Ethan in his car seat. This routine was almost daily, and Ethan always slept on the way back. They lived in the small town of Maplewood, but Sarah worked in the city of Oak Ridge, where her company's headquarters was located. To stay close to her son in case of emergencies, she enrolled Ethan in a school near her office. They had no other family members, so they were very attached to each other. Their drives home were usually peaceful, but that night the rain was heavier than usual. Ethan was startled by the noise of passing trucks, but everything seemed under control. Unfortunately, that proved to be wrong. Sarah drove carefully while Ethan had fallen asleep in his seat in the back. Suddenly, a truck driver attempted a high-speed overtake and crashed into the side of Sarah's car. The vehicle was immediately thrown off the road, spinning and overturning. Dazed and scared, Sarah looked back for her son, but the seatbelt and the car's position prevented her from seeing him. "It's okay, son. It's over. We're fine," she assured. Hearing his mother's voice calmed Ethan, and he confirmed he was okay in his car seat. He wanted to cry but was too scared to let the tears fall. It took about 30 minutes for help to arrive. The truck driver, responsible for the accident, was the one who called for assistance. He explained that he was trying to get home for his daughter's birthday and had his vision impaired by the rain. Regardless, he missed the celebration, as he was taken to the police station, while Sarah and Ethan were transported by ambulance to a nearby hospital. It was only when doctors began examining mother and son that they realized not everything was okay. The doctors examined Ethan and, surprisingly, found no cause for concern. Sarah, however, was in a more critical condition. Perhaps her concern for her son and the adrenaline masked her own injuries, but she was found to have severe internal bleeding and needed emergency surgery. Ethan felt lost amid all the doctors rushing around his mother. "Hey, kid. How about we get something to eat?" suggested a doctor, taking him away from the scene. His name was Alex, a newly graduated resident. When he asked about Ethan's father, the boy said he had never known him and didn't know who he was. Ethan ate a sandwich and some ice cream, but as soon as he had the chance, he asked the doctor, "Sir, is my mom going to be okay?" Alex, having never faced such a situation, found himself without an answer. He had learned in medical school never to promise what he couldn't guarantee. "Kid, I'm sure my colleagues are doing everything they can for your mom. But don't worry, okay? You'll be home soon." Alex stayed by Ethan's side the entire time, even when he finally fell asleep after resisting for so long. Then, a doctor emerged, informing that Sarah, still in surgery, was conscious and wanted to see her son. Alex anticipated what was about to happen, so he woke Ethan and took him to his mother. Lying in bed, Sarah asked Ethan to come closer. She asked him to promise always to be honest and caring towards others, just as he had been with her. Above all, she asked him to be strong, as his life was about to change. Lastly, "My dear Ethan, know that I love you and will always watch over you." Tears streamed down Sarah's face as she hugged her son for the last time. Sarah passed away that night, leaving Ethan to face the world completely alone. Without a father or family, social services were called, and Ethan had to go to an orphanage. The boy struggled at first. It was hard to accept that not long ago, he had a home, a mother who loved him more than anything, and a stable routine. Now, none of that existed. The funeral was simple and modest, attended only by Alex and a few of Sarah's work colleagues. The boy bid farewell to his mother and made a tearful promise, "I'll always visit you, Mom, and never forget your last words and who you were to me." The first nights at the orphanage were tough. His last peaceful sleep had been in the car on the way home. When he awoke suddenly, the car was upside down, and his mother was calling his name. Memories seemed to intensify at night. When he finally managed to sleep, Ethan dreamed of Sarah walking through the orphanage door to take him home. Upon waking, he remained enveloped in the feelings the dream provided. He spent hours thinking about it, becoming increasingly isolated, as he didn't interact much with other children. As the newcomer, the kids teased him, "Hey Ethan, thinking about your mom's ghost again? Better stop being a baby and accept she's gone and won't come back. No one will want to adopt a crybaby like you." The orphanage staff seemed indifferent, letting things run their natural course. Some mornings, they took all the children to a local park. There were some playgrounds and opportunities for new and old children to play together. But it didn't work for Ethan. Noticing the park's proximity to the cemetery where his mother was buried, he slipped away from the group to fulfill his promise to always visit her while everyone was distracted. He couldn't leave the orphanage whenever he wanted, so he seized the opportunity. Near the grave, Ethan sat and began recounting his life now that she was no longer around. It was astonishing how he spoke more in just 10 minutes than in all the weeks spent at the orphanage. To him, it was as if she were truly there. Ethan could even imagine what she would say and how she would laugh when he shared something funny. "Mom, I miss you so much," he thought constantly, like a mantra. Ethan also shared how he suffered at the orphanage, how the kids were mean, and how the staff didn't help at all. "I have nothing left here, no one, and I don't feel happy like I did with you, Mom," Ethan said, raising his voice in anger and tears. "I want to disappear from this world, not exist anymore. I don't want to live without you. Take me with you, take me," he shouted. Suddenly, a hand touched his shoulder, gently comforting him. Ethan felt warmth in his chest, as if dreaming, but it was too real. He turned quickly and faced a woman with a charming smile. "Are you okay? I saw you crying and thought I'd check if you needed anything," said the mysterious woman. Ethan tried to wipe his tears and struggled to express everything stuck in his throat, but he couldn't. "Look, I understand it's hard, but I see you don't want to be alone. How about I sit with you, and we stay together," she offered, trying to console the boy. Ethan nodded. The woman introduced herself as Emma, visiting her son's grave, who had passed away a few years ago and was slightly older than Ethan. The boy then opened up and finally communicated. He shared that his mother had recently died, and he was there to visit her, but had actually escaped from the orphanage outing to be there. They talked for a while, and then Emma offered to take him back to the orphanage. Ethan didn't know the exact address but remembered the streets he had taken to get there. On their way back, they passed a park and saw a carousel. Emma noticed Ethan's fascination and encouraged him to ride one of the horses. The carousel started spinning, and the boy smiled for the first time in weeks. Looking around, he noticed twinkling lights in the trees and many decorations, indicating it was already Christmas time. When Ethan got off the ride, he stepped on something bulky. Looking down, he saw a leather wallet. There weren't many people in the park at that moment, so he discreetly picked it up, glancing around to see if anyone might be its owner. Opening the wallet, Ethan was shocked. He had never seen so much money in his life. There were several crumpled $100 bills. It was enough money to run away from the orphanage for good. Ethan returned to Emma but didn't mention what he had found. He wondered how someone could drop so much money and not come back to look for it. However, on their way out of the park, Ethan and Emma passed a security guard, and the boy felt a shock run through his body. He remembered the promise he made to his mother on her deathbed, to be honest and caring towards others. Asking Emma to wait for a moment, Ethan pulled the wallet from his pocket and handed it to the security guard, saying someone had lost it near the carousel. "Oh my, thank goodness you found Mr. Thompson's wallet, kid. He's one of our park's longest-serving employees and was devastated about losing his entire year-end salary. You've just saved his family's Christmas, young man." The guard turned to Emma and concluded, "Congratulations on your son, ma'am. You must be very proud of him." This last comment silently hurt both of them. When Emma and Ethan finally returned to the orphanage, they expected to find everyone worried about the missing boy. However, the staff seemed surprised to see him returning at that hour. It was as if they hadn't even noticed he hadn't come back with the rest of the group. The other children noticed the clear discomfort in the room and began to laugh at him. See? No one even missed the crybaby. Better run to your bed and cry again, that's why you came back, isn't it? Emma was appalled by the staff's negligence. Ethan was completely embarrassed and hurt. The woman left with a heavy heart and decided to enter a nearby church. She prayed for Ethan to find a family that would truly love and care for him. In the following days, Emma couldn't find peace or sleep. One night, she dreamed of her deceased son, the one she had visited the day she met Ethan. It had been years since she last dreamed of him, leaving her shaken. Unable to return to sleep, she got up for a glass of water, recalling her last memory with her son. They were at the beach, as they often were on weekends, but she got distracted for a few seconds while applying sunscreen, and he went into the sea alone. When she realized he wasn't on the shore, her heart froze. Hours later, the boy was found by the rescue team, but unfortunately, he was already gone. In the dream, the boy appeared in a house, repeatedly saying, "Mom, take me with you, please," while handing her a note with an address. Drinking water in the kitchen, Emma remembered the address and wrote it down on paper so she wouldn't forget it in the morning, even though she thought it was just a dream. The next day, she told her husband about the day she met Ethan and the strange dreams about her deceased son. "My love, I don't understand these things, but if our son is trying to tell you something, maybe you should listen," he said. Emma took the address from the paper and checked on her phone if it really existed. To her astonishment, the address was real and led to an orphanage, the same one where Ethan was living. Her husband was puzzled, thinking it was too much of a coincidence, but Emma then revealed she had connected with the child at the cemetery. "I felt good with him that day. I felt he needed me, but I also needed him. We kept each other company. He's an honest boy, and for the first time in a long time, I felt whole again," Emma said. Her husband embraced her tightly and announced they would go to the orphanage immediately. The couple was received by a staff member who said visiting hours were over and appointments had to be scheduled by phone. The husband explained the situation, trying to persuade the staff member to make an exception, but he seemed unwavering. Then the husband remembered what Emma had said about how they seemed to ignore the children's feelings. That's when he offered two $50 bills. The staff member accepted without further question and opened the door for the couple. "My boss isn't here, so enjoy," he said with a wide grin. Upon entering the room, Emma recognized Ethan in seconds. He was sitting on the couch alone while other children played. As soon as Ethan saw Emma, he ran towards her and hugged her. The husband took the opportunity to ask the boy some questions. "Hey, tell me, what was a kid like you doing in the cemetery at that hour?" And Ethan, now more at ease, replied, looking down, "I was talking to my mom, sir. I was asking her to take me away, far away from here." This shocked the couple. How could someone so young say something like that? Emma and her husband exchanged glances, seemingly afraid of what they were about to suggest to each other. They obviously felt the urge to adopt Ethan and take him home right away, but the situation wasn't that simple. Emma didn't want to feel like she was replacing her son, but perhaps her dream was a kind of permission to allow herself to love another child in her home. After all, since her son passed, her life had never been the same, and nothing and no one seemed capable of changing that. After much discussion at home and a plan to navigate the complicated adoption process, the couple decided it was time to move forward and, most importantly, give a home to someone who desperately needed it. They spent months trying to meet all the requirements necessary to adopt Ethan, visiting him almost daily during this period, ensuring he was well treated. After what felt like an eternity, the day finally arrived, and Ethan saw Emma and her husband waiting for him at the orphanage reception. With tears in her eyes, Emma opened her arms, and Ethan ran to her. The hug they shared moved even the orphanage staff and some of the children who had teased him. Ethan went home with his new family. Over time, he had stopped being a reclusive child and was now much better at relating to others. During a Sunday lunch, which seemed to have become a new tradition in his new family, Ethan spoke proudly, "I'm so grateful to you for everything, but I also thank my mom. I'm sure she somehow got me out of the orphanage. After all, she promised she'd watch over me." Emma also expressed her gratitude, saying she went to a church the day she met Ethan. Inside, she prayed for the boy to find a family that would love and care for him dearly. She just didn't imagine that family would be hers. Subscribe to the channel and click on the notification. Help this channel reach 1,000 subscribers, this way YouTube will deliver this content to more people who will benefit. I count on your help. Ethan and his new parents visited the cemetery once a month in memory of their deceased loved ones. Ethan bought a bouquet of roses to decorate his mother's grave. Emma was always there for her late son, making it clear that neither would ever be forgotten. Emma and Ethan felt that, in a mysterious way, they were the true orchestrators of that improbable union, which ended up forming a happy family once more. As they left the cemetery, they walked towards the park, and Ethan ran to the carousel, his favorite ride. Meanwhile, his parents watched him spin around with the utmost care and affection. If you enjoyed the story, please leave a like, and this other video appearing on the screen now will probably move you as well. Enjoy your session, and see you in the next video.